little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.
And welcome back, and we're moving into our second segment for today. It is time for another edition of Bruk It Down with Jenny. And we have Jenny Lovell here with us. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
All right.
All that rest.
Yeah, and you know, we've missed you. We haven't been seeing you on our Tuesday nights anymore, so at least you're here for Friday. But Jenny, we're tackling a tough topic today. We're talking about relationships that are called toxic. And you know, that can be just about in any aspect of your life. So
yeah,
just you tell us about it. I don't want to talk.
And I want to just say, toxic can be in just about all kinds of relationships, in some at some level. Mm-hmm. When we talk about toxic is just like the word sounds. It's noxious. It's
makes you sick.
Yes, it's
unhealthy.
Dysfunctional, unhealthy, all those things.
Yeah.
So, of all the relationships, because you could have parent-child relationships, employee-employer relationships that are toxic, siblings, between siblings, people who are about to get married, people who are just dating. Mm-hmm. And boy, you're lucky if you're dating and you can get out of one of those early enough, if you have the strength to do it, no?
Yeah.
So of all of the relationships, I thought today we could look at relationship between friends.
Toxic friendships.
Yeah. And we have,
that almost sounds like an oxymoron. If it's a friendship, it shouldn't be toxic.
Shouldn't be toxic. But you know, some people choose you get chosen to be friends for a different reason. If a person is a narcissist and they're power hungry, or they like that feeling of superiority, you get selected. And you're not even aware that you were selected.
Okay, I gotta wrap my mind around this a bit. Okay, so fine. So I think one of the first things that I'd like to understand is, how do you know every relationship has challenges? And since we're talking about friendships, I have a belief that I subscribe to all the time, and I tell my closest friends, you know, relationships of any sorts take work. You work on your relationship with your family, my mother, with your spouse, and you have to work on your relationship with friends. It has to be commitment to spend time together, commitment to check in, commitment to ensure that my needs are being met and your needs are being met.
Thank you, Marlene.
So I really do see it like a relationship, like how we see boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Yeah.
Right. And it's, you know, it's give and take.
Yeah.
And it cannot be one of these relationships where you're always giving and somebody's always taking, because then that is really very toxic if you allow it to continue. Yeah. It's an investment of your time, an investment of your emotions, a whole bunch of things. Yeah. Thank you for that intro. That was great.
Maybe I've learned too much from you already.
Toxic relationships, I want to just give a definition.
Okay,
it's a relationship whereby the behaviors of the toxic partner are emotionally and physically damaging to the other person.
Okay.
Because sometimes it becomes abusive, and it becomes physically abusive. If it's a person who is into power and control, if they're not controlling you, they're not able to control you, then it becomes physical.
Okay. Can we step back for a second?
Sure.
Because maybe it's a personality thing, but different people have different classifications for what a friendship is. You know, there's friendship in my mind, and there are acquaintances. How do you distinguish, first of all? I mean,
you're the one that makes that distinguish.
Okay. Yeah.
You distinguish who's your acquaintance and who's your friend.
Okay.
I have lots of acquaintances.
Yeah.
But I have few friends. I can count.
Me too. One hand.
Yeah, my friend. We both did that.
Yeah, one hand. That's all I need. Yeah.
And really, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Because there are expectations in friendships. If I share something really deep and personal with you, there's the expectation you're going to respect that and keep that private. Yeah. And your friends will do that. Now, there are some people who want to push to be more than an acquaintance, and they'll push their way in, but you have to let them in. So you will know if they're an acquaintance or a friend.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Staying in relationships that are toxic, though, is really unhealthy. And there are physical things that are associated with that. A toxic person, let me just give another definition, is somebody who is jealous and judgmental also. Okay. Jealous people are very toxic, and it's because of their internal self-hate. They can't just be happy for anyone around them. Lord, we know some people like that. They constantly are bringing everybody around them down. And I'll give you the five toxic friendships in a minute. Their jealousy comes out as judgment, criticism, or gossip. Think about that for a minute. Gossip. And so constantly talking about others. There's a little saying that says, you talk about others, you spend time talking about others rather than talking about myself or talking about things that matter, right? Look at your friends.
That's important to trust, too.
Yes.
You know, my mother used to tell me, whoever bring it, carry it too, right? So if they're telling you gossip about other people, they're going to take your business somewhere else, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For them, everyone else is awful and uncool. So they have to be the center of attention, and they're the perfect person.
Yeah.
All right. So I put here about a bestie, right? And we don't just have, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't just have one person I call best friend. These people here are my support system. They're my best friends.
Yeah.
Right? I don't just have one bestie. Different people meet different needs. Right? So, if you have you're in a toxic friendship, it can cause physical problems for you. I'm jumping on to the other one.
Yeah.
So,
we're talking about bestie here.
no, we moved on now to the
yeah.
toxic friends, right? They cause problems with your physical health. Okay, because you get depressed if this person is your best friend and they're just not meeting to your needs. You're doing everything. You're the giver. They're taking from you. They're talking about you. They bring you down. They do all these things. You're subject to heart disease because you know depression eventually leads to heart disease.
Yeah.
You're subject to diabetes because your sugar level keeps going up and down. Cancers. Same thing with trauma. So it's like a living trauma.
Yeah.
Okay. Irritable bowel syndrome, lowered immunity. So you've got to check these people that you have around you that you call friends. Are they really friends? And why do you stay in the relationship if they're not meeting your needs, right?
Yeah.
So the top 5 toxic people, and I can't see it here, so I need them to show it. Yeah. The narcissist. Yeah. They did a study. One of the universities did a study with 122 people. And what happened, it came out that the narcissistic friend was 69% of those folks. It's a large number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you define what a narcissistic friend is?
This is someone who is, there's no remorse. They are, there's this superiority thing. They are constantly into power and control. Let's just look at President Trump, and you see a true narcissist, right? It's someone who basically, they lie a lot because they have to be the center. Every conversation revolves around them. So if they call you, or they won't call you. You call them, they will start telling you about their day, their week. And then when you
so they never check in on you?
No. But if you call and you try to have a conversation, it'll be about them.
Yeah.
And then they're bored. They don't want to hear about yours.
Yeah.
All right? So you'll know you're with a narcissist because of they're really self-centered, very self-absorbed. It's pretty awful.
My question just is, why would somebody stay in a friendship like that? I'd have somebody like that at arm's length if I'm not getting...
It depends on what this person's needs are. And you know what? I wanted to say this. A lot of times people look outwards and say, oh, these people do these things to me and these friends. But check yourself. What kind of friend are you? Are you also are you doing these things? Or are you also giving your 100%?
Yeah.
Because both people have to give the 100% in the relationship. Can't be a one-way thing.
Yeah.
The chronic downer, this is the person that's always putting people down, putting you down. They'll put you down in front of other people, but they'll do it like a joke. The critic, they're always criticizing. How come you always wear black? You know, black makes you look, you think black makes you look skinny, but it really makes you look fatter. Or that they're always criticizing, criticizing and putting down. The underminer. This is the person who will go and gossip, tell your gossip. They'll do it in a way so that it doesn't look like they're gossiping about you, right? They will constantly undermine you, and it comes from jealousy. It comes from envy. So they're close to you, and you think they're your friend, but really and truly, they're very jealous of you. And then the last one, flake. This person never lives up to any promises. They'll make promises to you. They're never on time. And you say, oh, she's just flaky, but really and truly, you have to start looking at what that's about.
Or I'm going to be there for your child's birthday, not show up, you know.
Or I'll babysit for you, and then
don't answer calls.
They won't answer the phone call. The flake.
Yeah.
Very toxic. These are the top 5 ones. There's a number of others, but these were the top 5 ones that they did the research on.
Okay.
Oh, nice. She's just moving right along. Okay. So this is just a breakdown of the signs that you look for.
Can I ask a question before we get there? You know, some people may be watching this and say, you know, I love my friend no matter what. And there's a thing as well that our friendships develop in school, and because of our school system, we kind of just move through all these classes, and so, you know, so it's your childhood friend who knew you before everything, and they hold on. Like it's hard to they never let you forget anything from high school, especially. But I'm just saying that there seems to be a commitment issue too because of how we're raised. We're not like a population like the U.S. where you'll meet somebody at work and become friends, or at a coffee shop, or, you know, wherever. These are people that have known you your whole life that usually tend to be your friends. So letting go is hard.
It's hard.
And accepting that they're unhealthy for you is probably hard.
Yeah. But the thing is this, you really have to take stock of who you have around you. Periodically, it's important to do that. So things like check in, you know, who's calling? Do we both call equal amount of times to check on each other? Or am I the one I always have to call? You need to check in and look at that. How come? And when we meet, am I like the garbage can that dump on me, but doesn't wait to hear how I'm doing or what's happening in my life? So you meet up someplace to have lunch or dinner, and the talk is centered just around this individual. And then after that, they're bored, or, oh, I got to take this phone call, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. And they do not give you the opportunity to also vent or to talk about what's going on. All right. So if you have to take stock of how you're feeling, how are you feeling in this relationship?
But if I'm accustomed to it, like I'm saying, if the friendship has always been that way, it's almost like, you know, that's how we work. That's how Jenny and I work. You know, we get together and I hear all about Jenny because Jenny's life is more interesting than mine, you know, like, or she's more open about her problems than I am and how comfortable I feel. Almost like it's a developed pattern in the friendship. So I may not know that I'm being the dumping ground for you all the time because I just, you know, you trust me.
And like you said, these long-time friendships, we grow up together, and you have these friends that maybe you all go away, and when you come back, you start up right where you used to be, but they're nurturing. How do you feel in the relationship? It's just like if you have a relationship with your spouse, your boyfriend, whatever. How are you feeling in the relationship? Are you feeling dissatisfied? Are you feeling unhappy? Do you leave when you separate and you go home? How do you feel about the time you spend with the person? Okay. Do you need to clean house? Okay. So they do not support who you are. They're constantly putting you down, criticizing you, and sometimes they do it so nicely. So you think it's something that's nice.
Some people master backhanded comments, backhanded compliments.
I know. But you really have to look at that because if it's ongoing, what's that about? Okay. You can't trust them with private conversation. And you'll hear your friends, you will say, oh, wait, we'll talk about this after we leave her. So you already know that there's something wrong in the friendship.
Yeah.
But again, because of the commitment, people don't stop and think, how am I really feeling? Am I happy in this friendship? They take, you give. They take, you give. You become almost like a caretaker. And it becomes an expectation for them that you're always going to be there, you're going to be, they borrow money, a small amount, never pay you back. And you accept it because, well, it's my friend, you know. I love her. She's my buddy. But you've really got to look at that. They consistently disappoint you. All kinds of ways. If you're feeling, and the thing is you're feeling it, but you're not questioning it. So I'm throwing it out there, question it.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't like or respect your partner, your children, or your family. So they'll throw comments about you. Oh, you know, your mama's always doing that, or your son's always doing this. I think you need to tighten up the reins on him, and constantly putting your family down, or even attempting to separate, to put a separation between, isolating you from your family.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Is there more?
Yeah. So these are the signs that we were talking about. The next slide we go to is what you can do.
Yes. The first thing you have to do is take an assessment.
Okay.
You've got to look at the friendship. And if you're feeling unhappy and you know you're not comfortable with what's happening between the friendship.
I think a good way is when you dread hanging out with that friend. Like it's almost like a chore. That's when, or having a conversation with them. Like the phone rings and you're like, hi. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's got to be something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take an assessment.
Yeah.
Look at the friendship for what it really is, not for what it used to be or what you think it used to be.
Yeah, let go of the history.
Yeah. You really got to assess it and look at it. Your friends, people who really love you and are your friends, are not going to put you in danger. They're not going to take you out drinking if you don't drink, or try to force you to drink. Or you drink and then they leave and go with somebody and leave you.
Or guy friends, they're going to encourage you to cheat if you don't want to, or that's not what you went out planning to do. Yeah.
They put you in dangerous situations. If you have people like this around you, you really need to do an assessment.
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? And remember, a lot of times people are close to you, but there's a lot of envy and jealousy because they feel you're prettier, you're handsomer, you have you have more things going for you.
Or perception of success too. You know, you may be married, they may not be. You may have more children that are easier to deal with than they do. Something along those lines, I think.
You know this thing when it's called trowad? I don't know if we still use that term. No. When they say people they trowad by you.
Oh.
So these are folks who will talk to you like they're your friend, but they're telling you things that it's for you, but they'll be saying it like it's for somebody else. You see how that one, she always make fishy picnic, get anything with a child want, and as I say, child say want, she run out and buy iPad and buy this and buy that, knowing full well that you do this with your child, but she won't say it to you.
Yeah.
But you know that it's meant for you.
Yeah.
If you're getting this kind of, you have this kind of a relationship, you really need to take stock of why you continue to allow yourself to be abused like that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Do a self-assessment and do an assessment. Self-preserve. It's really important to self-preserve.
You have a what you can do list here, but one thing I wanted to ask, which is not there, there's the find new friends part, but the step before that is, how do you break up out of a friendship?
Just like you do a husband.
Well, we all have different ways of doing that, but
No, seriously.
Yeah.
If you have a friendship, a long-term friendship, you just start spending less time.
Okay.
You withdraw yourself gradually. explain to, and I believe in telling people.
You like tough conversations.
You tell people
Yeah.
what's happening and why you're detaching.
Yeah.
And detach with love. Always detach with love.
That's why I was asking, because I
Yeah.
see sometimes where people are really great friends and whatever happened, I don't know what it is, but then they get nasty towards each other, and they also hoard secrets, so it's almost like you have a war going on.
Yeah.
And then I've seen in other situations where people just stop being friends and
Yeah.
there's mutual respect.
Yeah.
You know, it's once upon a time this person was a great friend of mine, and
I've grown. I've grown, you're still there.
we outgrow each other
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
I've grown, you're still there, and you're happy where you are. But I will not be spending as much time with you anymore because I really feel that we have grown.
Yeah.
We've grown
We're
apart.
going on different paths.
Yeah. We're down different roads.
Yeah.
I still, we're still friends. I don't want you to think that we're not friends, but I wouldn't be spending as much time with you as I used to. Have the conversation, but you really have to
So before that, we were saying find new friends.
Yeah, find new friends. Can you back up?
Yeah, they're gonna get to it. So the what you can do is self-preserve,
Yeah.
and then you move into finding new friends after you've had the conversation and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you find new friends?
Well, I don't know where you find your friends, but we can
Yeah.
we go to church. We meet people at church.
Mm-hmm.
We meet people in workshops in our fields. We meet people in workshops. We meet people sometimes traveling. I meet a lot of people traveling, and you decide whether or not these are people you can have friendships with. You give it an opportunity, just like when you're dating, right?
Yeah.
I'm
gonna get it for you. So it's find new friends, and then the final point on that slide is work on rebuilding your self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely. What happens if you've been in a relationship with somebody who has been putting you down constantly, right? Or criticizing you, and you make that break. Now what you want to do is take time and make sure you understand and you talk to yourself, right? That this wasn't you. This was that person for whatever problem they were having. This is not you. And rebuild your self-esteem.
There's an interesting thing, I think, as we get older, people downplay friendships. It's almost like a childish thing. Like, oh, you have besties in high school and maybe younger years. And then as you get older, having this conversation is perhaps frivolous to them. I have a husband, that's my best friend. Or I have a wife, she's my best friend. I have my children, that's my full-time responsibility. Who has time to worry about this friendship stuff?
But you see, the thing is, you may not want to go to a counselor or go see a psychologist. But if you have a best friend that you can sit and talk things through, if this is someone who has known you for many, many years, they can talk to you honestly, right? It is somebody who you know is a friend.
Who has your best
interest at heart. They are going to share with you from honest feelings and give you honest information that you can take without going to pay somebody to give you information. All right? We need friends. All of us, we need friends.
No matter what age.
No matter what age, you need friends, and you need good, honest people that are in your corner. And if you know that, if you have that relationship, hang on to it. Hang on to it. Honor it. Seriously.
And if you have one or two who are anywhere in this category, then start considering what you need to do to pull away.
Go. And I particularly want to just say, a lot of the kids who are now, they've come out of high school, they've gone into college, and they meet a lot of people. Lots of people who want to be friends, and they want you in their cliques, in their groups. You've got to be careful about looking, are these people the ones who are driving drunk? They taking your life into their hands. You've got to assess those friendships. Especially young people. Really assess it.
All right, Jenny. Well, thank you for this real talk this morning. Of course, once again, the conversation focused on toxic friendships. How to identify it and what to do. We'll have it posted on our Facebook page in case you want to recap. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
We need to talk about toxic love relationships next.
Oh, that one may need a whole show, but we'll work on that, Jenny. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. When we come back, it is for an entrepreneur who's creating the easiest thing, something you definitely have to have in your house: Creole bread and bun dough packs. That's coming up after the break.
These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.